All right, let's jump right in. We're going to take a look at a single powerful verse from the Bible and just unpack it. The goal here is to really understand the incredible depth that's packed into just a few words, especially what it tells us about one of the most mind-bending ideas out there, eternity.
But first, let's start with something I think we can all relate to. Have you ever felt like prayer can sometimes turn into a laundry list of things you need? I know I have. It's so easy to fall into that trap of just listing our wants, and before you know it, it all feels kind of formal, maybe a little repetitive, and not totally from the heart.
Well, the verse we're looking at today is the exact opposite of that. It's this sudden, spontaneous, almost overwhelming burst of praise that just seems to erupt out of nowhere in a letter from the Apostle Paul. There's no script, no formula, just pure, raw adoration. So what on earth just happened?
To really get this, we've got to rewind a little bit and look at the story behind the man who wrote these words. See, this wasn't random. It's actually the grand finale to an absolutely incredible personal story.
So that's the big question, right? What could possibly happen to a person that would cause this kind of spontaneous worship to just pour out of them? The answer is, well, it's all about the unbelievable transformation of the guy holding the pen.
Now here's what's so fascinating. Paul's praise didn't come from a place of comfort or an easy life. It came from a place of total dramatic change. He actually calls himself a former blasphemer, a persecutor, someone who hated the very community he was now a part of. He literally says he was the chief of sinners. Just let that sink in. But then he experiences what he calls exceeding abundant grace. So you see, this verse isn't just a collection of nice words. It's the sound of a heart that is overflowing with gratitude for being saved from himself.
You know, this specific type of praise actually has a name, and knowing what it's called gives us a key to unlocking its real power.
It's called a doxology. The word comes from two Greek words, doxa, which means glory, and logia, which means speech. So a doxology is literally glory speech. It's a way of praising God that isn't about what we want or what we can get from Him, but it's all about who He is. It's a beautiful way to think about it, isn't it? Glory speech.
And a true doxology, like the one from Paul, is totally God-centered. It's not some formula you just repeat. It's a spontaneous overflow from a heart that has been genuinely captivated by who God is. Really, the big takeaway here is that all our learning about God, all our theology, is ultimately supposed to lead to this, doxology, praise. It's about knowledge turning into adoration.
Okay, so let's build on that. Now we're going to zoom in on maybe the most mind-bending word in Paul's doxology, eternal.
Think about it. We are creatures completely bound by time. For us, time is a sequence, right? There's a past that's gone, a present that's constantly slipping away, and a future that hasn't happened yet. It's always moving. But the idea of God's eternity is something else entirely. It's an existence without time. No beginning, no end, and, here's the craziest part, no succession of moments. For God, there's no was or will be. There is only is.
This analogy really helps. Imagine you're standing on the bank of a river. You only see the part of the water that's flowing past you right now. But what if you were in a helicopter, high up above? You could see the entire river all at once, where it starts, its long journey, and where it ends, all in a single view. That's kind of like how God sees all of time, in one single, indivisible instant.
Okay, I know. That is a huge abstract concept. It's fascinating to chew on, for sure. But what does it actually have to do with us, in our day-to-day lives? Why was Paul so moved by the idea that God is eternal?
And that brings us to the most important part. This is where this deep, complex theology becomes something deeply personal and comforting. This is where the abstract gets real.
I mean, just look at our world. Everything is temporary. Everything changes. People change. Relationships change. Our own bodies change. Cultures shift. Absolutely nothing stays the same. And in the middle of all that constant change, the idea of something or someone who is truly eternal, completely unchanging, well, that provides a really powerful anchor.
So here's where it all connects. That difficult, abstract idea of eternity gets translated into a simple, powerful metaphor we can all understand: the eternal rock. A rock is stable, it's strong, it doesn't move. It's a firm foundation you can build your life on, something you can cling to when the storms come.
And this is the payoff. This is why it matters so much. An eternal God offers everlasting strength, a foundation that won't ever crumble. He offers everlasting consolation, a comfort that is always there no matter what changes in your life. He provides everlasting truth, principles that don't just shift with the latest cultural trend. And maybe most importantly, he gives us everlasting hope, a future that is absolutely secure because it's anchored in someone who exists completely outside of time itself.
So as we wrap up our little deep dive into just one line of praise, it kind of leaves us with a question to think about. In a world that's defined by change, a world where the ground is constantly shifting under our feet, what are you building your life on? What is your rock?